Good morning, how are you? I am Dr. Mrs. Mudukola Falabi. Happy to see you. I am the one taking the course on Airline Management. What we are to discuss this morning is historical perspective of aviation.
Good afternoon, students. It's nice once again to have you this week. The topic before me is perspective of aviation in Nigeria. In this unit, we are going to discuss the development of airline. We are going to discuss the configurations of the airline and also what constitutes the airline transportations in Nigeria.
Introduction. The airline transport involves all activities that are put in place which enable the mode of transport to change from land to air or vice versa. Airline transport is a means of conveying guests to their desired destinations. It is a tool that the tourism or any form of people who wishes to travel from one particular area to the other will make use of, be it by land or air or by road. But as it is today, we are to discuss on airline transportations, which involves activities that are put in place that enable the mode of transport to change from land. Thank you. The objective of this study is for you to have the knowledge of the pioneer effort brothers, whose names are Wright brothers, also to appreciate the historical development of the aviation industry in Nigeria. And we shall also discuss about the role of the government in airline management in Nigeria, and we will recognize the power or the policy that constitute airline configuration and the functions of the key aviation parasystems. The evolutions of the airline industry. The evolution of the airline industry is the great interest in development of powered aircraft in the United States and Europe, which began the development of the air industry. In Kentworth, North Carolina, the Wright brothers were the first one to pioneer the flying of the flight craft in 1903. The early aircraft development was also subsidized by the government with the hope that it would be used for military purpose. However, in the middle of the late 1920s, aircraft was utilized for the delivery of mails, and the first U.S. aircraft designed primarily to carry passengers that was from the Ford Trim Motors, which I said it was allowed, or it was came to pass when there was a little riot um, between the Kano people and the British Royal Air Force that was forced to land on their ground. That was what happened during the pre-independence. The history of aviation. The history of aviation industry in Nigeria can be divided in the emergence of the Nigeria Airways Limited. The early stage of development of air transportation in Nigeria can be noticed by the activities of BOAs in Anglophone West African countries. Upon independence, Ghana pulled out of of WACE, that is West Africa corporations, in 1958. The Nigerian government acquired the share of the corporations and in Ghana. The history of aviation. In 1961, the work was re-registered and named Nigeria Airways Limited. The ownership structures of the Nigeria Airways then was made as follows: Federal Government of Nigeria 51 in each 100, British Overseas Airways Corporation have 33%, and the other Dempest have 16%. The Nigerian Airways scheduled flights were actualized with a fleet consisting of 2 Boeing 707, 2 Boeing 707, 3 F-28, 527, one assertive plane and subsequent acquisition of jets to cope with the rising level of business and economic development. The history still continues. On the 1st of May 1961, the Nigerian Airways became wholly owned by the federal government when the Boers and the Edda Dempet sold their shares to the government. The Nigerian Airways grew steadily during the first 8 years that they were operating, and they also involved in the domestic flights to them, which exist. 5 international airports were also in existence. That was from Lagos to Kano, to Sokoto, to Maiduguri, and to Port Harcourt. It was also being used or operated as a sub-regional flight to such West African countries such as Abidjan, Accra, Robert Field in Liberia, Freetown, and Banjul. In addition, the Nigerian Airways operated on the international route on joint arrangement with other airlines, specifically the British Airways to the United Kingdom, Amsterdam, and also to the United States of America. The history of aviation still continues despite the deregulation of airline business in Nigeria. From the late 1970s up to the middle 1980s, the Nigerian air transport subsector recorded impressive operational performance, an increase in the fleet of the aircraft. After the middle 1980s, the number of this fleet and performance of the national carrier declined in line with the downturn in the economy. The need for further development of this country air transport services led to eventual deregulation of the industry by the government. This action unleashed unrestricted competitions among the operators, leading to the proliferation of small airlines. The monopoly long enjoyed by the Nigeria Airways were eventually broken with the structures reform which were undertaken, embodying the regulations and restructuring of the air service industry. These are some of the local airlines that were operating in Nigeria. They are the Arik Air, the Virgin Air, the Virgin Nigeria. We have Dana Airlines. We have Bellevue at that time. Aero Contractors, they are still there. The Overland, the Cabo Airlines. These are the few ones that we have for now. Airport development. The Nigeria aviation industry witnessed a sharp increase in the number of airports as landing strip gradually turned to modern aerodromes. Currently, Nigeria has 30 international airports, of which only 5 were fully functional. The country has over 32 airports, out of which 26 are run or operated by the Federal Airport Authority. Their configurations is what we are to discuss now. Airport configuration consists of free zone and restricted zones. The airside area is restricted zone only for the authorized staff and the passengers. The airfield pavement, which include the runways, taxiways, aprons, crash, and likewise the roads, service roads, and their drainage network. The airfield lighting includes approaching lighting, runway lighting, stopway lighting, taxiway lighting, etc. Aircraft fueling facilities, aircraft maintenance facilities, airside security network. These are all the facilities that you can find in airside area. In the landside area, or the facilities that could be found in the landside area, land transportation system include internal roads, vehicles, cargo, trucks. We have land telecommunications network, the telephone radios working. We have power supplies and distributions. We have water supplies and distributions, security network system in the public area, and the sewage treatment and garbage disposal systems. These are the things that we see at the land side area that were put in place for the use of people at the terminal. The terminal building facilities are the flight information and general communication systems. You will also find passengers processing and baggage check-in facilities. The baggage conveying systems are there. Lighting, fire prevention, cooling and ventilation systems are there. Anti-sabotage and anti-hijacking security systems were also in place. Airline office, restaurant, shops, water supplies to toilets and offices. Those are the things that you will find in every terminal building area at the airports. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria, that is being referred to as FAN, is the agency of the government saddled with management of all the 23 airports in the country. And their major functions are to provide and to develop, maintain at the airport necessary services. Their function is to develop and maintain all what is necessary at the airport, their facilities for safe, orderly, expeditious and economic operations of the air transport. They are also to provide adequate conditions under which passengers and goods may be carried out by air. They are to provide adequate facilities and personnel for effective security at the airport. They are to charge for services provided by the authority at the airport. They are to create conditions for the development of this airport. We also have air traffic control system. The air traffic control system comprises navigators aids and communications facilities. The airside infrastructures include flight control, navigation aids, communications radar. A navigation aids are known to be aids to navigate. It is a sort of signal or markers or guidance equipment which aid the travelers in navigation, usually nautical or aviation travel. Air traffic control system. Air traffic navigation aids also include instrument landing system, very high directional radio range, non-directional radio beacon, distance measuring equipment, localizers, radio detectors and ranging, which is being referred to as radar. These are the things that the air traffic control system use. They use radio detections and ranging when they are communicating. They also use distance measuring equipment, which is being referred to as DME, and they use non-directional radio beacon. All these are tools that they use to control the air traffic on the road or on the air. Very high omnidirectional radio range is a means of communication, and they use instrument landing system. While the airplane want to land, there is a need for such person to have a little communication with them through the use of instrument of landing system operating facilities. Nigerian Airspace Management Agency. The agency was formerly called the Federal Civil Aviation Authority, but now the Nigerian Airspace Management Agency's NAMA, and their functions are: these are also another agencies whose duties are to control aircraft. As I said, formerly they were being referred to as Federal Civil Aviation Authority, but as it is now, their names has been changed to Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, which could be abbreviated to NAMA, and their functions are as following. They are to provide a safe and functional air navigation services that meet international standards, the installations and effective maintenance of air navigation aids in all airports and their routes. They are to restructure and design air routes for positive area airways control. They also make provisions of total radar control in Nigeria airspace and liaise with other international organizations for the improvement in the delivery of Nigeria air navigation system. In conclusion, in this unit, we've been able to discuss little about the historical perspective of aviation in Nigeria, We have also discussed about the evolution of the airline industry, which was started prior to the independence and the emergence of the airline Air, Air, Nigeria Airline Limited, and we discussed also about the regulations of airline businesses in Nigeria. Also, we discussed about the Federal Airport Authority, that is FAN, and their functions, and the way and manner air traffic control system are being put in place and being used. And lastly, we discussed about Nigeria Airspace Management Agency, that is as NAMA. In summary, we have discussed about Nigeria aviation industry that has a modest beginning with Wright brothers that carried out the first successful flight that lasted just a minute in 1903. And likewise, we discussed about the US and the Great Britain, which also started developing this aircraft with the aim of making it primarily for war that will be used by the military. And in 1920, the domestic airline began with the United States government through subsidized means that were provided for airline management companies to carry mails. With the deregulations of the airline management in Nigeria, the country has now had about 32. The Federal Airport Authority of Nigeria (FAN) was also established by the federal government, among other things, to provide and to develop and maintain the airport. And the air traffic control system is under the Nigeria Airspace Management, which is being referred to as NAMA. And their function is to make provisions for safe and functional air navigational services that will meet up with the internal services. The assignment is, what do you understand by airport configuration? And you should list the principal functions of the Federal Airport Authority in Nigeria.